Hey, what's happening? It's Jamie. It is June 30th, 2023. It's Friday, and it's the end of the month, end of the first half of the year. I don't think I need these. No. What I wanted to talk about was if you're hiring general contractors, whether it's in your local market or out of your market further away, and you have different people that you might use for different jobs. For example, vinyl siding, window replacements, roofing, gutters, which would probably go with siding or roofing. Interior work like painting the walls, sheetrock, flooring, plumbers, electricians, so carpenters. So there's different people that you're going to use, regardless of your skill set of being a handy, being kind of handy. I am fairly handy. There's some things that are outside of my scope, and even if they were inside of my scope, sometimes my time I feel is more valuable elsewhere than being tied up in a project. I enjoy doing some of these projects, but sometimes I can't be in two places at once, and I'm not a contractor. So I try to keep a Rolodex or an Excel sheet of people that I have met over the years. Some I eliminate, some get out of the business for different reasons, and others I just find out they don't measure up to my standards or what my expectations are. Recently I had two jobs that I'll just share with you as an example, one of which was a shower that was leaking in an apartment, and it had been leaking for a long time, and it was basically a drain that had cracked, and I thought maybe I could just seal it. Now I could probably, we say Mickey Mouse it, just kind of like gunk it up, seal it up, and hopefully it won't leak again. But the problem is if I do that, if I just seal it up, hoping that it never leaks again, I'm not doing it the right way. I'm exposing myself to the risk of having the same problem down the road at some point. And the amount of water that got into the wood and the sheetrock, which wasn't like awful, but it was enough to cause some thousands of dollars of damage. And if I have to replace the actual shower, it depends on what kind of shower I use. If I use a 1-piece or 3-piece, if I use a base with tile, there's all different things I guess I could do to try to eliminate some of these costs. But the thing about it is, when I have people come over to fix these things, they give me quotes and they give me their input. Now, it doesn't mean what they say is the end all. Like if they say, oh, you got to replace this entire shower, for example, I haven't yet because this just happened, I might get a second opinion from another trusted plumber, because the plumber I have, I really like him. I trust him around. I'm not worried about stealing. He's pretty much reliable to show up and take care of stuff. But he's getting a little older, and his enthusiasm and his willingness to kind of, what's the word, be flexible or more, more willing to like come up with some solutions, versus like just go get a new shower head. Now, here's the things that you need. Here's several of the items that you need. Here's where I would look, or let me take care of it for you. I'll charge you a little more, but I'll take care of the whole thing. I personally would pay more to have somebody take care of the whole thing, give me a decent price, and just get it done. But I don't feel like I'm getting that value in this specific case, because of the type of response I've been getting with this. Now, I have to fix this, so there's a bit of a sense of urgency. I can't just leave it exposed, and I have people living there, so I have to fix this shower situation. So it's good to have one or two other options or more where you could call and have them come check it out. It may be uncomfortable and an inconvenience to the tenants in this case, but I'm the one paying, so I think that it's only fair that I find the best value, whether it's the cheapest value, because cheap isn't always best. Like, cheaper isn't always the better deal. And that's to my next input. For an electrician, I have another place where I've had to replace laundry room lights. They were kind of like those garage looking lights with the little bulbs you insert, those long bulbs. I forget what you call them right now, but I wanted some better lights in there, some LEDs. So I put them up in the laundry room. I had them put them up in the laundry room, replace a ceiling fan with some lights in the basement, all plugs and outlets throughout the house, not the entire house, but a good portion of the house, and install a couple blanks. There was a couple blank outside power outlets that I wanted to be functional in case somebody had to plug it in to do something where they had to plug in an electrical outlet. So I will tell you that the guy I use, it's a guy and his son, they're not the cheapest for sure, but when they show up, I feel pretty confident they will find solutions to problems. They're cost effective. Like I had one where the ceiling fan didn't come with the proper anchor, like the thing to support it, so that the ceiling fan would go flush to the ceiling and have good support without falling on the tenant, and also be level so it's not like wobbling and making a bunch of noise. You know, these ceiling fans sometimes do that. So he went out and got the piece that's needed. He didn't ask me, he just did it. He's like, you need this. And I have a relationship with him where I trust him. I know he didn't go out and get the most expensive. He just got something that was functional. He's like, I needed this. I was like, okay. And he's done that before, where he's installed a fan for the bathroom, you know, like the fan that kind of blows out some exhaust. And he gave me 2 options. He didn't give me 15 options or 10 or 5. He just said, these are both good brands. One's quieter than the other. The one that's noisier is less money. I went with the more expensive one. So I like that. I like not getting too many options and knowing that this is an electrician that has been around for decades, does great work, has his son involved, so he takes pride in his business, and he's reliable and trustworthy. So in my list of things that I use for different properties, I don't always go with the cheapest. For me, what's more valuable is the person showing up, not banging out or blowing me off, or not coming when they said they were going to come, being late, and honoring their price. And if there's something that comes up unexpectedly, I don't give them a hard time as long as they give me an explanation. I think communication is super important, and having the numbers, for the labor and for the material, receipts, I think are important. It's just part of it. Whether you have a new relationship with someone in this field or a referral, it's good just to kind of do checks and balances. I have different people that do that without me even asking. If there's a certain job they're working on, they just send me the receipts. They're like, here's what that cost, and I just don't even think about it. But neither do they, because they're like, they want to just say, hey, this is what that costs to fix that. And I square up with them at the end. These are the things that are super valuable to me as I'm doing different projects. So if I end up paying a little bit more in the grand scheme of things, there's times when you get people for less money, but they don't finish the job, or they do the job like halfway. It's a job that needs to be redone again. It's not quite done up to spec. And that work that you think you saved, you end up having to spend more. I had that happen with a painter, where the painter did a whole interior of the house. Basically, he was going to charge me, I think it was like $7,500. It was like that, $7,500 or $10,000 to do this, 2-floor, split level house. And it was about, I want to say, 1,900 square feet. Every room, I'm talking like living room, kitchen, bathrooms. There was 2 bathrooms, right? No, I'm sorry. There was 1 bathroom in that house, and 3 bedrooms with a possible 4th. So he did all those bedrooms, the hallways, but he skipped the closets. He didn't do the primer, and he did like 1 coat. And I remember walking the property with the guy and saying, man, these closets haven't even been touched. The backs of the doors aren't even touched. And he's like, oh, who did that? A blind man? Guy who did this one? And it's him. And he's just trying to be cute and funny. And in the back of my head the whole time I was thinking, I'll never use this guy again. And he was recommended from somebody who I really held up in high esteem for in the real estate world. So I had to fight him about that because he didn't even finish the job, and I had to try to, you know, get some money back from him, which I did. And then I had to hire somebody else. And so I ended up spending the same amount of money, but it was just the time that I lost, you know, kind of doing that. So as you get into these different things, whether it's a home project, just your primary residence, whether you want to do it yourself or sub out some work to do some things that you can't do, or you want to save some time to doing yourself, then don't just rely on referrals. Referrals are good, but I think you got to have a process and certain boundaries that you set where you're like, this is what I expect. So a guy I used to work for, a CEO of a company, used to say, you know, I'm sure he didn't come up with these, inspect what you expect. Inspect what you expect. So if I expect a job to be done a certain way, I'm going to inspect the work. So, oh, my phone's getting low. Anyway, that's my input for the day. I know that's not a stock tip on, you know, stocks. I will leave you with this, and maybe I'll talk about it more tomorrow. Tesla has earnings, as you probably know. I mentioned this to some of the guys today. I don't know how it's going to come out. I think they'll do pretty well, but you know, you never know. But it might be something to put on your radar and do a little bit of due diligence. Okay, guys, I'll see you next time. Have a great Friday, rest of your Friday. Bye.